this, we will talk about our 9-week appointment. So I actually had to reschedule it because originally I had rescheduled my 9-week appointment, well, my 8-week appointment for May 31st, which was the day before the last day of work for me. And I wanted Matt to be there, but he accrues sick time like every month. So we pushed it back to June 5th. Because he would be out of work and then I wouldn't have to use sick time or personal time to go to the appointment. And considering, we're having a baby, I needed to make sure I was able to save up, as much sick time and personal leave as possible. And him as well. So we scheduled the appointment June 5th. And it was definitely excruciating to have to wait. Because, when you find out versus, when you get the positive versus when you get to actually go and see the child, see the baby inside of you, there's just so many things that are going through your head. Like, am I actually pregnant? Is everything okay? Are we going to find out that, it's not viable when we get there? Or is something else going to be wrong? Is it a tumor? Like all these things are running through your head. But then at the same time, you're like, oh my gosh, we're going to get to see it. We're going to get to hear the heartbeat. We're going to get, confirmation. Like everything's going on. So it was scheduled for June 5th at 2:40. And we got there at about 2:30. And when I went to check in, my doctor was at a C-section. She had been in labor and delivery for a few hours. And they had just taken the mother in for a C-section. So when I got there, they were like, she just called us and she said it's going to be probably maybe 30 more minutes because that means they went to a C-section. So I was kind of like, oh my God, okay, fine. Matt had already taken off work, so we weren't going to leave again. He had about an hour left of work. So we just kind of hung out in the doctor's office until about 3:15. They took me back to the ultrasound room and did like blood pressure, talked to me some stuff, like how are you feeling, what's going on? And the only thing I was really able to say was, I'm tired a lot and there's been minor nausea, but nothing too serious. Sorry, I do not like how it doesn't look like it's focused right now. And that was really it. There wasn't anything more. So took blood pressure. I have no idea what my blood pressure was, but I have low blood pressure to start with, as well as like low heart rates. Or I have a low blood pressure and elevated heart rate. It's not really elevated because it's usually like 80. So then we just kind of like sat in there for what felt like hours, but when I look at the times, it was only maybe like 20 minutes that we sat in there. And then she came in, and that's kind of when it all got really real. I did have to do, it wasn't like the regular ultrasound where she just like squirts a jelly on your belly and looks at it. It was the transvaginal one. So yeah, that was fun. But I would say that was probably the craziest few seconds. She turns on the screen, she turns on the machines, and then you're like looking, where is it at? And then all of a sudden it just appears. I'm gonna cry again. And it's just there. Like it's definitely like it makes you speechless. I mean, I've always heard like, you see it and you take your breath away, but it does. Because there it is, and you see its little outline. It looks like it looks like a gummy bear at some of the angles she would do, but other angles, I feel like it looks like Oogie Boogie from The Nightmare Before Christmas. But other angles she took, it also looked like a squirrel. Like, I just think all the angles are kind of crazy. It still had its yolk sac. So everything's still forming, and then she did the measurements, and at the time we had predicted I was 8 weeks and like 4 days or 5 days along. But I'm gonna use my Pitbull napkin. it smell like pickles now. But then when she measured, it was measuring at 9 weeks. So it was 2.24 centimeters long. And how they measure is from, like, they say crown to rump, because the legs aren't even formed yet. So it's just its spinal column. And then she quit moving. And so I'm kind of laughing. And anytime I would move, like, it would wiggle some. So I don't know if I was making it do it or if it was doing its own little wiggling, but it would wiggle. And then she kind of just, like, held it there for a little bit, and you can see the heart fluttering, like, looked like a little butterfly. And then she turned on the heart monitor, and that sent me over the edge. It was strong and steady, like boom, 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 like strong, steady, loud heartbeat. And it was 165, so it was perfect. It's exactly where it needed to be. Measuring by measurements, it was perfect. By the heartbeat, it was perfect. There's just one. So that was a relief at the same time. Because we were kind of nervous, like, what happens if it's twins? Because it was all by itself. I guess I'll put like a little picture of it here. That was it. And I'll show the Oogie Boogie one too. I guess I'll just show all of them, but it was the coolest experience ever. And I know it's just gonna keep getting cooler. Like that made it so much more real, because now we have like a picture. We can look at it. We know that that's it. Like, that's inside of me. And ever since then, anytime I see Matt, I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm a 3D printer. So that was our 9-week appointment. I would say that the most stressful part of that entire thing was, talking finances with insurance, because of course after the fact is when we had all the questions. Like, holy crap, what does this mean? My doctor's office does not do post payment plans, meaning like you don't get a bill at the end of everything. They want you paying up front. And then when they make the claim on insurance, you get reimbursed for anything outside of your deductible. So that was really confusing. That was a lot of calls. That was a call to my doctor. No, I didn't call my doctor that day. That was a lot of like looking over the paperwork they had given us, and then looking over my insurance paperwork, and then calling my insurance just to get like a lot of, calling my insurance was the best, because they like reassured us like, yes, you're not going to be out. Like, once you've reached your deductible, anything above your deductible that you prepaid, you're going to get reimbursed for, because we cover everything outside of it, including the co-insurance. So, that was taken care of. And then I have an appointment coming up for the birthing center to talk with the hospital and to get pre-registered and everything. And I think like get my demographics taken care of, and hopefully probably a little bit of a tour. So, it's a step-by-step process right now. And then we're also looking into other tests that might be available to us. We were told about genetic testing, which we are kind of still doing more research into, and at this time we're still doing more research into it to see if that's something we want to pursue. Like, would it change the outcome of everything, or at least give us a heads up, because most insurances will cover it, or the genetic tests themselves will try and help you out to get like a good rate for it. So there's still like a lot of stuff. I have my 12-week appointment on July 5th. And I might be having like one of Matt's coworkers come with me. Well, ex-coworker. She's 3 weeks ahead of me. And so she's reached out, and it's been like really nice to have someone who is pregnant while you're pregnant, because that kind of was, and like I also have like other people as well. Like, I have a close high school friend who she doesn't know at the time of me making this, but we're due the same month. I'm due in January. We have a January baby coming up. So just remember that. There's another coworker who's pregnant, and she's due in December. So there are a few other women around me that, our kids are going to be born within a month of each other. So that's really cool. That was our 9-week appointment, and it was the coolest thing ever. So yeah, I'm not going to cry.